Today is everybody's birthday, and if it's not your birthday, yes it is. Surprise! So, spoiler alert, it actually is my birthday, and we have a little tradition on this channel that when it's my birthday, I make my birthday cake. By the time you're seeing this video, I don't think it will be my birthday yet. My birthday is on March 24th. I am an Aries. Do with that information what you will. I was really struggling with what I was gonna do for my birthday cake this year. I wanted to do something that would be really fun and really cool, and something that I actually like. And I was getting really in my head about doing these like insane show-stopping things that I thought would be really cool and really fun, but I quite frankly don't have the facilities to film right now. And then I realized this is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to be enjoying myself. So we're taking it back to the basics today, and we are just doing some really simple, really good flavors with a cake that I really actually love. I have mentioned before that I am not a cake person. I would much rather like cookies or some other desserts, but this vanilla cake that I came up with is actually really, really good. So if you're also not a huge cake person, you might actually like this one. And I've made it better by adding brown butter. Bitches love brown butter. I know you guys love brown butter. And then we are making a honey simple syrup to go with it and a rosemary and honey Swiss meringue buttercream to go on top of it. And those are some of my favorite flavors. And I also think that it's really springy and simple and fresh and good for the season. Part of the reason why I picked this recipe is because we're gonna be doing the reverse creaming method, which I don't think I've done on this channel yet. Basically, you like mix all of your dry ingredients, including like your sugar in your bowl, and then you add your butter and you mix it. And kind of what happens is the like fat gets mixed in first and inhibits some of that gluten formation. So you end up with like a really tender cake. Also, it makes for like a really level cake, but it's a really cool method that I'm very excited to explain to you guys. And hopefully you guys find it interesting. And you guys are all invited to my birthday party. That's at the end of this video. Gifts are not required, but highly encouraged. I also accept gift cards and Venmo. At the very least though, you do have to say happy birthday to me. That is non-negotiable. Anyway, I'm gonna take you over to the counter over here, over to my stand mixer, and we are gonna start making this brown butter vanilla cake and get that baked off so that we can move on to the other parts of the recipe. I am also, at the same time, making bread because my time management sucks. Okay. Hello friends, Editing Amanda here. Do you see that mic on my dress? Yeah, I was not paying attention whatsoever. So we're going to be doing a voiceover because bitch, get out of the frame. Because my mic had died and I was too dumb to notice that it had. So I'm going to talk through the cake and the soak today. I have all my dry ingredients here. So the flour, the sugar, salt, baking powder, baking soda, all that stuff. And I was giving it a slight little mix just to get everything combined. And now this here is my browned butter. I do have a full walkthrough on how to brown butter on my channel. It is with my brown butter cookie recipe. So if you want a full step-by-step, definitely check that out. But essentially you just cook the butter that is called for on the stovetop in a small saucepan just until the butter solids that have sunk into the bottom turn a really nice amber color and it kind of smells fragrant and nutty. I poured my butter into a shallow bowl and stuck it in the fridge so that it would firm up pretty quickly. But basically you want to pull it out before you start baking and have it be at room temperature, just like normal butter would. I cut mine up so it'd be easier to get out of the bowl. You can kind of do whatever you want, however works best for you. All you need is room temperature browned butter. So I am just going to use a spoon to get it out of the bowl and into my mixer here. And you can see kind of the browned milk solids on the bottom of the pads of butter there. You want to make sure you get all of that into the bowl, not a piece of butter left behind. And then that is just going to mix on like a medium speed until the butter has pretty much completely worked into the dry ingredients and kind of resembles like a coarse mealy texture. It's okay if there's a few large butter pockets, but for the most part you want it all worked in. So for my wet ingredients, I have my oil, buttermilk, and vanilla in this quart container here. And I'm just gonna add 3 eggs to the mixture and give that a good stir so that everything is completely combined. So you're gonna wanna just eyeball it, to be honest. It's not really an exact science, but you're gonna add about 1/3 of your wet ingredients to your butter and flour mixture and mix it on a medium speed until it's combined. It should kind of look like a cookie dough, to be honest. And if it's too dry and doesn't come together, you can definitely add more of the wet ingredients, more than 1/3 of the wet ingredients. But you don't want to add all of it, is the bottom line. So you're going to keep mixing it until it comes together as a dough, and kick the mixer up on a high speed and essentially cream it. So kind of like how in a normal cake you get air trapped into the butter and sugar when you cream it together, we are just trapping air at this stage right now. So we're creaming everything together until it's light and fluffy, just like you would with regular creamed butter. And once you're at the stage where the mixture is light and fluffy, we are going to slowly add the remaining wet ingredients to the batter. So while the mixture is running, I'm just slowly adding the rest of the wet ingredients and then kicking it up to a high speed to combine everything. Before you know it, you'll have a completely cohesive, creamy cake batter, and you'll see tiny little specks in it. That's from the brown butter. It looks really cool, honestly. It's kind of like having vanilla bean in your batter, but it's brown butter solids. So the oven's preheated, and I'm going to divide the cake batter between the 2 pans that I have sprayed and lined with parchment paper. These are 2 9-inch pans. This recipe will also work for 3 8-inch pans. So just use whatever you have. And I'm just using an offset to level everything and get it flat and smooth. And now we are moving on to the honey simple syrup. So basically in this section, I kind of talked about soaks and syrups and why people use them in cakes. So the first reason and why you might see people using milk or an unflavored simple syrup is for moisture in the cake. You see this a lot, especially in cake shops where they are making a lot of cakes at once, or if you are making a cake and it's not going to be eaten right away or it has to travel. It's a really great way to lock in moisture into your cake and keep it soft, tender, and fresh for a lot longer. The second reason, and the reason why I'm doing it here in the video, is to impart some extra flavor. So you'll see flavored milks and flavored syrups and stuff, and it's just kind of an extra way to add an additional flavor into your cake and another profile. I've done a lot of citrus flavorings. You can do coffee or alcohol or anything like that, something that will add like a nice subtle little layer to your cake. So I'm making a honey simple syrup here, which is just going to be warm water, some honey. I also added lemon juice and vanilla. Typically, a simple syrup is equal parts sugar and water that you heat up over the stovetop to melt the sugar. But since honey is already an invert sugar, it's already pretty much a liquid. I just mixed it with a warm water to get it loose and get it in more of a syrup consistency. You can make this ahead of time and it'll keep in your fridge for honestly quite a long time. You can have it in there for like a week or two before you need to use it if you are trying to plan ahead. And that is all from me on the editing side. Thank you so much for joining me today. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Hello. Welcome back to clearly my favorite part of my kitchen. Over a pot of very hot water. I've got the brown sugar, the honey, and the egg whites. And we are just gonna keep mixing these up and keep them moving. You really wanna keep them moving because the parts right here where the egg whites are touching the bowl, if they sit for too long, they'll cook and you will have scrambled eggs, which is not what we want. So we're heating this mixture up to about 150, 160. We're at like 130 right now. And you want to make sure when you're doing this that the water, like when the pot that you have with the water in it, that there's no water actually touching the bowl, because we just want to heat this up with the steam from the simmering water. It'll heat up pretty fast, so you kind of have to babysit it. Don't walk away. All right, I'm at about 160. So I'm gonna take this off the heat and we're gonna pop this over to our stand mixer that has the whisk attachment on it. We are over at the mixer. I have the rest of my ingredients at the ready, but for now we are going to whip this up and cool it off. If we just put the butter in here now, nothing would happen. It would be soup. We need to make meringue first. Turning this onto a high speed, we're gonna watch as it goes from sugar soup to nice soft peaks, and I'll kind of slow down and let you know what to look for when we start adding the butter. So it's starting to thicken up. I can hear it smacking up against the bowl, but when I put my hand on it, it's still warm. So you want to go until this is thick and glossy and starting to form peaks, and this does not feel warm at all. It won't necessarily feel cold, but it will not feel warm to the touch at all. We want to completely cool before we start adding any butter. So this is pretty much like room temp now. Like I use the back of my hands because my hands are kind of hot. So I use the back of my hands to feel, it's pretty much room temperature now. And we are really, really thick and have like really nice soft peaks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep this on high and start adding our butter, like a tablespoon at a time. Once you start adding butter, this mixture might start to look kind of loose and curdled and wrong, and that's okay. It's actually really hard to mess up Swiss meringue buttercream. If it looks soupy after a while of mixing, it's too cold. Just throw it in the fridge and try again later. If it looks curdled and like there's little lumps and pieces that are not mixing in, your butter is too cold. So you can either pop it back over onto the bain-marie and heat it back up again, just until the butter gets soft again, or you can use like a kitchen torch if you have one and kind of heat the bowl back up. Try to get some heat in there that way and get the butter soft, and just keep whipping it. So it's pretty easy to troubleshoot Swiss meringue buttercream. So I'm gonna kick this back on high and start adding the butter. You see what I mean though? How it like got really, really soft and soupy. I'm just gonna kind of scrape down the meringue that's stuck on the sides. Basically, this is just because the butter got really, really soft, and as you keep whipping it and get more air into it, it'll cool off again and whip back up into buttercream. So. Cool. I'm sure you saw that it went from like really soupy to kind of curdled to kind of lumpy, and now it's a creamy buttercream. So we're gonna add the rest of our flavorings. I pretty much always add salt and vanilla to my buttercream, but we're also gonna add some rosemary. Going in with some salt, my vanilla. I just chopped up some fresh rosemary, so that is gonna go in. And I'm going to continue beating this on like medium-high speed just until all of the mix-ins and flavorings are properly incorporated. So this is all silky and smooth now, so I'm going to meet you guys back over at the bench and we're going to assemble this cake finally. Hi! So we're back! I have everything that I could possibly need out on the bench. I've got my soak, my frosting, my cakes. I've got my turntable. I'm out of cake boards, so I'm just using like a cake plate, cake stand thing. Actually, do you know what this is? This is a $5 charcuterie board from that dollar section at Target. It's called being resourceful. And then I've got a bench scraper, some spatulas, and a serrated knife. So like I said before, the reverse creaming cakes come out really, really flat. Yours might have like a little pooch on the top, and that's totally fine. But either way, they are way flatter than when you do like a regular creamed cake. So normally I'll just leave them and let them be flat. But today I'm going to just trim the tops off like just barely, just to expose the inside. Just because the soak sometimes has a hard time permeating this like baked crust on top. And it's a lot easier when you get like straight into the cake. So I'm just gonna like barely scrape off the top. Like I said, I just was like barely cutting off the top. So it's just so that the soak can get into the cake easier. And this is for snacks, because decorating cake is hard work. Bring that back over, tiny smear of frosting just to get this to stick. Okay, you pretty much want to use most, if not all of this soak. That's why I like made it make the amount it does. It makes like 3/4 of a cup, almost a cup. So you want to use like between 1/3 and 1/2 cup per layer. You really want to get it in there. You really want to soak it. I don't have a squeeze bottle, so I'm just using a pastry brush. If you have a squeeze bottle, it would go a lot faster. This works for me. So I'm gonna just put like a cup maybe of frosting here. Shouts out to my friend Chloe for the turntable. I don't have one, and she has, this is a nice fucking turntable. And it's okay if you go past the edge of the cake when we go to like smooth it out and actually like frost the outside. We'll just use that for the outside. So don't freak out if it's not perfect. So, and now I'm gonna use the rest of the soak on this cake here, because I'm gonna put it on here upside down. You don't have to, it's just the bottom of the cake is like easier to frost and you get like less crumbs everywhere. Okay, so the cake is like sufficiently saturated, I feel like, and I have like this much left, so I'm okay with that. There we go. Get rid of this. This is devastating. I didn't wear white, I wore black, and I still managed to. Really? I don't understand how some of these people are on YouTube doing cooking videos and not wearing aprons. I might have to go back to wearing aprons. All right, so I'm just gonna work in small sections around the cake and put the rest of the frosting both around the cake and on top of the cake. I kind of was going for like a, I guess like a naked like looking cake. So this doesn't make like too much frosting. I'm just gonna work in small sections going all the way around the cake, and then we'll go from the top. Honestly, at this stage, it's not about making it look pretty, it's just about getting the frosting on. And then we'll make it look pretty at the end. So I've got all my frosting on the cake and we're gonna smooth it out. And you can do this with an offset. I find it's easier to do with a bench scraper. We're not taking off any frosting, we're smoothing it. The easiest way to do that is to go in one fell swoop. So it's gonna be kind of awkward, but if you start with your hand near your scraper or your offset and just kind of move in one fell swoop, that's how you get that really smooth edge without all those skips. If you start here and you just kind of keep moving it, you might get those little bumps. Honestly, it's usually easier to do the smoothing if you have a larger surface, which is why I like using the bench scraper, because if you're using something small like this, you kind of have to do a lot of passes over to get that smooth edge that you're looking for, and you end up with a lot of streaks. But if you use something like a bench scraper or a large offset, you can get a larger surface area all at once, and you don't get all of the streaks and all of the lines that you would in a small offset. The small offset is really good for detailed work or small work if you're doing small cakes. I smooth the top out, and I'm gonna do one more pass along the sides just to get these edges up, because I'm kind of looking for that lip. That's the goal. There we go. And I'm really happy with that. So I picked a couple of sprigs of rosemary from literally that plant that I have sitting right there. And I'm just gonna garnish with that because I think it's cute. Look at her. Isn't she cute? Hold on. We have to finish setting up for the rest of the party, and this cake needs candles. Let's set up for the rest of the party. Welcome to the party. Isn't she cute? Are you fucking kidding me? This is so cute and springy. Obviously, I'm really sorry I did try some off camera already, but I will try some for you right now. It's so good. Because of the frosting and the soak, there's a really nice honey flavor. You can really taste, but it's not overwhelming and it's not overly sweet, and it goes so well with the cake. It is at its core just a vanilla cake. Because of the brown butter and because of it going with the honey, it just has such a nice like warm flavor to it that is kind of like your average like vanilla cake, but like a little bit elevated, I guess. It's like a little fancier. And the rosemary is just, it's so soft and so subtle, but it goes really, really well with this cake. And I'm really, really, really excited and really, really proud of how it turned out. This is my 3rd birthday with you guys, and I think I've outdone myself. I threw a whole party and everything. And you're also an Aries. Ah! Ow. Anyway, if you have a birthday in March, or if you have a birthday in April and you're also an Aries, I would love to know when your birthday is and what you are having for your birthday. This is the first birthday in like a really long time that I have actually had plans for. March birthdays really just sucked the last couple of years. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this very special birthday party video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know down below. But if there's anything else that you would like to see from me or anything that you want me to make, let me know and I'll do my best to make it happen. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye. This is tragic.